Hey guys, how you doing? Cameron J. Barker, got my partner CJ, and then we
Hey.
have the one and only ABC, Eric and Sarah. And guys, I appreciate you taking the time to just jump on Zoom and just kind of share your experience thus far. So just very first question right out of the gate is a very general question, but just overall, what have your experience been just working with FOBFLO and the team?
You want to start?
I think it's been a really great experience. You guys brought a lot of expertise to just the whole idea of the marketing on Facebook, and you brought some good tools to the table, the dashboard and all of that. That's like my favorite part of running a business is playing with those sorts of tools, and you had a good tool set there. I really enjoy working with you because you've been really responsive. You've had that great set of computer software tools, and a good vision for the marketing that we hadn't had a chance to develop yet.
Yeah, I saw it, to a certain extent. Yeah, I mean, I think right off the bat, we had, targeted marketing that was focused on us and the responsiveness that you guys had to our inquiries and the communication flow right off the bat. I think it illustrates in people who are interested in buying into your program, uh, if they're wondering what it is that they're going to get out of it, they're going to get what they see right off the bat. They're going to get targeted advertising, fast communication, strong AI backbone to support that communication to kind of backstop them so they're not having to answer messages at 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever. Because when they start rolling in, they do start rolling in. Sometimes you get hit with a flood, and it can be a little bit difficult and overwhelming to handle. So, but your backend systems really support that, and yeah. So
Hey, I appreciate you guys sharing that. Sarah, so I know, I'm gonna address each one of those one by one. Sarah, you mentioned the tech stack we come with, the software, the CRM, the automations. I have to say, you have been using FOBFLO. Like if we had like say, because right now we have 13 aluminum partners in the state of Florida, right? And no shade on anyone else, because I know everyone's busy, everybody has different bandwidth, but you are absolutely crushing, putting all the leads in the right disposition, keeping everything updated. And I have to say, it really does make things more streamlined and more organized. So kudos to you because you're really doing a great job. We do try to pride ourselves on like the training, the onboarding, the video resources. But even though we give that to every one of our partners, you definitely stand out as far as staying on top of that. So I just want to acknowledge that. Eric, you mentioned the communication as far as not only working with us, but like say some of our AI automations that we have that are super personable. I appreciate that because sometimes people who are in the home service industry, they're a little skeptical about AI. They may not know a lot about it, or they don't want to come off, robotic. So if you can just maybe just hit on that a little bit as far as just how it kind of just complements what you already do. Do you have any words on that?
yeah, I mean, it doesn't replace the human contact, but it is a backstop for those times when you can't just pick up the phone right away and answer. And it is effective, and the nudges that you get to remind people further on down the line. I mean, that's like one of the biggest struggles when you are working with new leads is maintaining a flow of contact with them after the fact. This is a volume game, and the more people that you're in contact with, the more that tends to cascade downward. And so you end up with a lot of loss in terms of that ongoing piece of communication that some people just require. And that's where that automation steps up and kind of fills in and gives them that kind of that high touch response that they're expecting. It also is it's so effective and so personable that a lot of our customers will respond to it, not realizing that they're dealing with an automated response. And so they think that we're really anxious to get going on the project, and we're just like, I didn't even know that you were being reached out to. And so that's a very good thing.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And we love that, right? Because it just really qualifies those leads. A lot of times they're even like sending pictures of like either blueprints or drawings or, the space that they have wanting repaired or that they want to build new on. So I appreciate you sharing that. One of the things that is really important to us, and this is some of the feedback when we get this, we feel like numbers and all that, like, yes, we run a business, you guys run a business, we have to hit numbers, right? But some of the things that we really enjoy when people talk about like our customer service as far as our responsiveness, the way we try to fight for every one of our partners. So I don't know, Sarah or Eric, either or, is there anything you could say when it comes to like just customer service, as far as like we're a local company, we're a family-owned business, and it's not like you're talking to somebody overseas or we just outsource you to some other company. Like everyone's here in office. Is there anything you want to hit on when it comes to just the customer service standpoint?
Well, yeah, I mean, back to my favorite part, the tech stack. I had like a request. I was like, hey, can we get the city that the people are, contacting us from on on the card? And I mean, it was like the next day it had happened, and you guys totally got like why I was asking for it, and you just got right on it. Very, very friendly. If I've ever had any questions, I've been able to get them answered super fast. So, I mean, on my end, your customer service has been fantastic.
We've asked for some specialization for your approach with us in a couple of different areas in terms of feedback into our own system here, and the ability to be able to flex with that has been very helpful. So we tend to look at numbers very, very carefully. It's a big deal to us, and we try to track things from as many angles as we can so that we really have a good handle on the business and know where to kind of take it from here. And that's been very helpful with that.
I appreciate that feedback. CJ, do you have any questions? I know Eric just mentioned like numbers and this and that. Is there anything that you want to ask them since,
Definitely, yeah. So, one of our other partners mentioned how if the ROI wasn't there, they wouldn't have renewed with us. And I know you guys recently renewed. Feel free to get as specific as you'd like, but how has the actual ROI been? You can get as specific as you like or as general as you like. Just curious how the actual ROI has been.
It's actually been a little bit difficult to track. In part because we know that there are some customers who reach out to us outside of the FOBFLO system. So the ROI has been solid. We certainly can draw a line and say, well, this is the income that we've made. This is how much we spent. There has been a solid ROI, but there have certainly been a number of intangible ones that have fallen outside of the FOBFLO system. Just because clients have been reached out to via Facebook, via the targeted ads, and they take that as a springboard. They're not going to answer the ad. They're going to go to our website. They're going to call us up directly. They're going to talk to their friends, and then we get a call back. And there have been, at least a half a dozen times in the last couple of weeks, just as an example, where we've had clients reach out to us where I'm almost certain that they were with FOBFLO, or they just had told me. We saw the videos. We were blown away. I've been looking for something like this, that, or the other thing that you guys do, and I didn't even know it was possible. So we've been super excited to talk to you, but it was outside of the FOBFLO lead line. So I would say the ROI has been solid. Cost per customer is high, and so that's one of the things that you need to factor into any of or how you want to tailor the individual aluminum program. This is a high ticket type of an approach, and so you have to understand that, and you have to understand that your cost per customer is, it's going to be high. It's going to be $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 per customer, and that's why you're doing these higher end ticket items, the full size cages versus doing the service side, and so that's been a conversation that we've had that's been ongoing, I know, with you guys in regards to that, is that it is a high cost per acquisition for clients, and so it really has to be focused on those big ticket items. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense, Eric. And one of the things that makes me ask this question, because I know we had a conversation during one of our meetings, and I asked you during this season right now, because everyone's great when there's a storm, right? But what really separates a great aluminum company is when we're years after a storm, and now it's just all about how are your systems, what are your lead sources, are you continuously creating leads, creating appointments? And so with that said, I remember asking you, Eric, I was like, of all your other marketing channels other than FOBFLO, like how has the lead flow been? And do you mind just sharing like our conversation that we had when it came to that?
I don't remember the exact conversation because we kind of had a number of them, but the reason why we renewed is because this has been the quietest season on record that anybody can remember. And for at least 2 months of our FOBFLO these were the only leads that we were getting in consistently.
There were just
There was
no one was calling,
Yeah.
no one was emailing, no one was looking at our website.
Our only disappointment was that we hadn't found you guys sooner. We would have liked to have been running with you guys maybe 2 or 3 months earlier, as we kind of went into that. And I've been hearing it across the industry. Everybody has said this is the slowest anybody remembers. Companies are closing their doors permanently or at least temporarily. People are being laid off all over the place, and we're hiring.
That's awesome, guys. I appreciate you sharing that. I'm personally on these sales calls all the time, and these aluminum screening companies all over the state are saying just how slow it is, and they're a little reluctant to like sign up because once we tell them our price, they're kind of like, but I'm like, what's the alternative? Like, you see your numbers, you see how many leads you're getting a month. Like, what's the alternative? Like, what happens if you do absolutely nothing? Right. So you just shared that there's some months where it's the FOBFLO leads that are coming in that has been the only source of revenue. So with that said, that tees up my next question. And in fact, if just for time's sake, this could be the last question. If someone was on the fence, right? Say we're on a sales call and they're watching this video, they're an aluminum screening company. They don't have tens of millions of dollars like some other larger companies. They're a mom and pop, and they're on the fence. We tell them our price. What would you share with them as far as getting started? What would be like a little nudge or just words that you would share from your experience? I know in the beginning, like, let's face it, it's not like you guys were like, yes, we want to do it right away. Like, there was like a little apprehension because I admit, like, we do look at ourselves as the premier marketing company for aluminum screening companies in the state of Florida. Like, that's a big, that's a big situation, a big claim. So what would you say? Like, what would you share to people who are on the fence and then they're watching this video and they hear from real customers like you guys?
Give me 1 second here and let's.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's fine.
Sorry, we just had somebody just drop in, so yeah.
No, that's okay. I'll ask the question. No, that's no problem. I'll ask the question
Editor,
again.
just make a cut right here, editor.
Yeah, no problem. So I'll re-ask the question, no problem. And then Sarah, cheers to the coffee. I'm okay.
Yeah.
So Eric, you bring up a good point when you mentioned that there were some months to where, and Sarah, you were complimenting this, that the FOBFLO leads have been the only leads coming in at certain points of the month. And so if there was another aluminum screening company who was watching this video right now, if you had to share just your experience as far as getting started, because I know like in the beginning, it's not like you guys were just gung-ho about getting started right away. There's a little apprehension, which I completely understand, because we're not the cheapest company, right? Like, we do look at ourselves as the premier marketing company when it comes to aluminum screening space. So if there was another mom and pop, aluminum screening company watching, what would be just your experience or your words? What would you share with them if they were kind of like on the fence?
Well, I would say, I guess, a couple of things. As a business owner, you have to be able to ask the hard questions. And one of the reasons we ended up going with you guys is because we played hardball in terms of the questions that we were asking. We were straightforward about what our needs were in terms of the numbers, and you guys understood that and were willing to go forward with it. For people who are on the fence, you have to wrap your mind around the fact that a percentage of your business has to go to marketing, that what we've experienced over the last couple of years, you cannot depend upon that. And so the businesses that are surviving are the ones that solve the question of lead flow, getting leads in, keeping that pipeline going, even when the season isn't great. And too many businesses like ours are depending upon word of mouth and referrals, and everybody loves a good referral, but the reality is a referral-based business is not a business. That's a hope. And FOBFLO provides a full package solution to solve that question and to make sure that you've got a lead inventory to work off of. And it also is instructive, I would say, to, as you get into the program, if the volume is high enough that you can start identifying related issues in your prospecting process. So figuring out, for us, one of the things that we identified is that our prices were out of line with what's going on in the market. But because of the lead flow generation, we were able to adjust fairly quickly and go from, and increase basically our success rate pretty substantially fairly quickly. So, but you can't do that if the lead flow isn't there. And so, if you're on the fence, you need to try it out.
And I would say do it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, don't wait.
You know, it never feels like a good time to spend thousands of dollars, but
Yeah.
it's that old adage about when is the best time to plant a tree 20 years ago.
Mm.
It's the second best time today. And that's like, if your company needs marketing, just go for it.
Wow, thank you guys. I appreciate that feedback. And a lot of times, people who get into the aluminum screening space, it's because they're great with their hands, they're great builders. It's not very often you're, 15 years old in high school and you're like, when I grow up, I want to be an aluminum and screening contractor. It's something that people sometimes just fall into. And so they're not always equipped because they don't teach us this stuff as entrepreneurs, right? About marketing, lead flow. It's all a numbers thing, right? Like how many leads are you getting a month? How many of those turn into appointments? And how many are you closing? It's really a numbers game. And if you're not creating leads on a regular basis and having systems in place to where you can nurture those leads, follow up with those leads, then you really are at a disadvantage. So guys, I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you for your time. And we truly hope this is just the beginning of a long-term working relationship. So God bless y'all. Crush the rest of your day. And thanks for the feedback.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a great day too.
All right. Awesome, guys. Thank you.
See ya.
All right. See you later. Bye.